Hello and welcome to Landscape Your Life. Today the boundless gardener Mary Palmer Dargan is going to teach you how to do bitters making, at least share one of my secret recipes. And it's not so secret anymore because it came straight from a spirited history of a classic cure-all, Cocktails, Recipes, and Formulas for Bitters by Brad Thomas Parsons. I love this book. It's so much fun to read, and the history is darn interesting. But today we're going to work on a new bitters that I think is quite fascinating. It's called Orange Bitters, and it has a 2-page covering, and it takes 2 weeks from the beginning to get your orange bitters started. So if you're planning on having a party, go 2 weeks out and then another week for the thing to stew and brew and be finalized. Then you have to put it in bottles. So let's talk a little bit about all of the different ingredients. First, you've got oranges, and the recipe covers the need to have 3 oranges. I'm going to refer to my recipe. And you're going to zest them. This is what zest looks like. It's little bitty shreds, and it is oh so much fun to do, but it's a little bit tedious. But if you're going to go to the trouble to make homemade bitters, you might as well make your own zest. So you get one of these little zest paring knives. You can get this in the bar keeping materials at your local grocery store, and you literally just peel little bitty strips just like this. It smells so good. And it takes a little while to do about 1/4 of a cup. It seems to be about 1/4 a cup per orange, and so you end up with about 3/4 a cup by the time you finish up with 3 oranges. Be sure to get organic oranges and wash them well before you get started, because why have anything but organic matter in your bitters, right? I think that's a good tip. Now the next thing it also calls for is 1/4 cup of chopped dried orange peel. Page 47. So I turned to page 47. I found out that you can carve up one of these with a paring knife, and you make a very nice long thin strip. I'm not an expert at paring, but I did find it was actually pretty easy to do. And then I put them, you have to dehydrate it or put it in your oven for 1/2 hour, and I have a dehydrator which made it easy to do. And so I made these beautiful things. They're actually very tasty. And when you put them in a dehydrator, I have one with 9 shelves. Put it on a sheet that has this mesh. And then I think I left it in for about 2 hours. I have the perfect type of dried orange peel. So the next thing you do is you get your wonderful beaker, all separated out into cups and 1/4 cups. Put enough in there, so that's 1/4 of a cup. So that's the next one of my items. I like to work in a container such as a big pint mason jar. So I'm going to pour these down into the mason jar, just like that. I'm going to get my zest. This is not all my zest. I've got to put some extra in it in a little while. I haven't finished my homework, but I'm going to show you how we did it. So that makes a good looking batch of orange peel and the dried peel. The next thing I'm going to do is get 4 cloves. Now there are 3 or 4 different types of herbs that are used and spices used in this. So I get organic cloves. I put my 4 right here. Cloves are, look like that. You've probably seen them in oranges for many of your Christmas events. And then the next thing they want me to do is to give us 1/4 teaspoon of allspice berries. Well, I don't happen to have my measuring with me, and I'm kind of an intuitive cook, so that looks like 1/4 to me. It's not very many. It's about 6 allspices. And then I'm going to get out the green cardamom pods. And I think cardamom is really a funny thing. It's a big fat berry, kind of like a caper. It is a caper. And anyway, you can sort of crack them, but I'm just going to go ahead and use them just the way they come out of the bottle. And, oh, it does say cracked, so let me go ahead and crack them. And I'm just going to crack it with the end of this. And they crack pretty well. These actually probably need to be dried out a little bit more to crack better. But that seems to get me cracking, and so the little beans are coming out, the seeds. So I'm going to drop them on in here. And then it wants me to get the coriander seeds, the gentian root, and vodka, 1 cup water, and 2 cups of rich syrup. So I'm going to be back with the rest of these items in just a second so that we can see how they get all mixed up. I was studying up on coriander. It's very, very difficult to get coriander seeds at a grocery store, so I've ordered mine online and they haven't shown up yet. That's not going to stop me from making my bitters. So I already had some ground coriander seed, and you only need 1/4 teaspoon, which is really, it's not very much. I hope you can see this. So anyway, now I'm going to put that into my wonderful magic mix. And then I've also ordered some bittering agents, and I mentioned that gentian was in the recipe. However, my body doesn't respond well to gentian. A lot of people do, but I tend to use a different bittering agent, such as fringe tree or wild cherry bark. There are many different types. So I'm waiting for that to come, but I'm going to go ahead and get my juice going. And I've got one more recipe that I'm adding to this that will make it all mine. And this is a little seed that I got from the woods nearby us. It's called partridge berry, and it grows on the ground in a little bitty flat ground cover type habit. It has 2 little white flowers, and it's used a lot in herbal tonics, like in Chinese medicine, and I love the flavor and the scent of it. So I'm going to go ahead and, just for fun, I'm going to put all of my berries in here, just to see what's going to happen. It's either going to make it or break it, but you know, what's a bitter experiment if you don't deviate a little bit from the recipes, right? So now, the last thing we're going to add today, I'm going to look through all my things on the counter. This was the coriander. I'm going to put it back with its friend, the herb set, is the vodka. Now, how do you choose your vodka? I got a pretty good grade of vodka. It's 100 proof, and it's Smirnoff. You could get anything. You can use potato vodka or corn or sweet potato vodka. You name it, you can use it. It's fine with me. You go ahead and pour it off into your beaker. 2 cups is what this is calling for. I'm going to go ahead and pour it over my mix. And you'll notice something very interesting. It has covered all of the materials. It's really important that what you pour in covers your materials so that they get to the essential oils will be able to be extracted into the liquid. And so this distillation method is very easy. It's going to take about 2 weeks for this to sit. Of course, I'm going to add my bittering agent when it gets here, which is probably on Monday. Today is Saturday. And then we'll see how all of this works. And we'll look forward to adding the next ingredients on the next segment.